This has to do with Justice Foundation. And we will just put you on that list and contact you, for example, because I need your help too. A lot of times we need people, we know something's going on, we know something bad is happening, but we can't just file a suit on behalf of the U.S. Justice Foundation, particularly in another state. We have to have a plaintiff. We have to have somebody who's got standing, as the court calls it. We need somebody who is aggrieved. Now, when these 23 executive actions start kicking in, there are going to be a lot of people that are going to be impacted by it. That's why we're working with the veterans right now, because we think they're already being impacted by it. And we're getting some veterans plaintiffs, but we could use some more. I'd like to have one here in Texas. That way I can file the lawsuit here in Texas and handle it myself in the Northern District. So if we may contact you and say, look, here's the issue. Do you know anybody that's suffering a loss of constitutional rights or something else on this issue? Let us know. Now, we do not and cannot, under our charter, handle litigation involving money. In other words, we don't sue for damages. That's not part of it. We will sue for attorney's fees to help cover our costs, but we can't sue for damages. We're just not allowed to do that. We wouldn't do it anyway because it takes too much time away from what we're really going to do. So I will be contacting you and letting you know of things that the Justice Foundation is doing, keeping you informed of what we're doing, and you let me know what you're doing if you're having problems, and help me find people out there who we can use as plaintiffs, who are willing to stick their necks out, because that's what they're going to be doing the circuits to. But again, we will charge them nothing. We will charge you nothing. We pay the court costs, we pay the attorney's fees, we cover all expenses. Now that gets expensive. And so we have limited resources, so we have to pick and choose our cases. So, you know, if you have somebody who you think has a great case, and they write to me, and I turn them down, it's not because they don't have a great case, it's just because our resources are stretched to the point where we can't handle a lot of stuff. You know, somebody has a traffic ticket and they think it was unconstitutional. I got a letter like that the other day. And I think they're right. I think that the way they got it was unconstitutional, but that's not something we're going to devote our resources to, not with everything else that's going on. So that's basically what I would like, and that's why I wanted you to hear what we're doing. The headquarters is in San Diego, but I'm here in Dallas, in the Dallas area. I'm available to go speak about the Justice Foundation or any constitutional issues. Anywhere I'm invited to state, and I'm actually on a list now to start speaking out of state. But I'm going to be traveling quite a bit, and my fiance and I just bought a ranch out in East Texas because I want to get out of the big city before it starts falling apart. And so we're not going to be moving up there until the end of the year. And so I'm still going to be here in Dallas, and when I'm out there, I'm not going to be an hour, 15 minutes away. So I can come into town and meet with people that you want me to meet with, and I can speak in groups. I'm also we're getting the word out. I'm doing as many as 5 or 6 radio and TV shows a day around the country. Some of them are 10-minute interviews, some of them are on for an hour. I'm supposed to do one this afternoon for half an hour, but I don't think I want to make that one because I got some other meetings to go to this afternoon. But I'm doing those, and we're getting good responses. My own little show on America's Web Radio is, out of 70 shows, is now up to number 2 in listening audience. So it's doing pretty well. And so really that's what I wanted to tell you. I wanted to tell you what we're doing, who we are. Also, something you can help us with is we do need attorneys to do some legal work. We ask that initially, if they could donate 10, 20 hours for free to help us do research or something like that, we're grateful for that. But then after that, they will be paid. Now, if their usual charge is, you know, $200 an hour, we can't afford to pay that, or $300 an hour. But we can pay something. And a lot of attorneys will charge like $75 an hour, you know, and we will pay them, and we will cover all their expenses. But they can help us. Because you can see just everything I've got going right now. I got my California staff attorneys working on a ton of stuff out of California, needless to say, and working on some of the national issues. I got my people up in Virginia doing Supreme Court work. They're snowed under. And so basically, right now in Texas is me, until I find some help. We also can use some volunteer time from some paralegals. And if we got some experts who are on the internet, setting up websites and that sort of thing, I'm a total novice. I still have to call my kids to find out how to do that. It's really pitiful. But, you know, somebody can volunteer some time to do that. But this is what the Justice Foundation is all about. And we've been doing this for 37 years, and it's an excellent organization. We've got a great track record. So please partner up with us. That's what we're asking for here. And help us in this fight. Because the fight in the courts is important. We are winning. We are still winning some court cases. And we can keep winning. And we cannot give up the fight. If we can nail Obama on one of these executive orders, just one, then that takes away a lot of his power. And so that's what we're getting aggressive on right now. That is one of the things, particularly the Second Amendment issues. Because he can be stopped. He will probably try to ignore the Supreme Court as he's done in the past. But most people don't realize that he right now is committing a criminal offense. Because there is a criminal statute that says you cannot violate your oath of office and go against the Constitution. It specifically talks about the Constitution. Because Obama took an oath very similar to mine, an Army officer, to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. If I violate that, if I come out and say, no, I want to destroy the Constitution, I want to take away individual rights, I can be prosecuted, sent to prison for a year, and fined $10,000. Well, Obama ought to be having that happen on a daily basis again. All the violations he's done. Because that's for each violation. I mean, just wait till tomorrow night when he gives his State of the Union address. You'll hear it all. But anyway, that's what we're doing, so let me answer any questions. Maybe I ought to go get a beer. So yes, sir.
Yes, I'm sort of thinking Second Amendment. My name is Barry Schleckman from Burleson, Texas, and Texas Patriots Tea Party. When you think about the simplicity of the Second Amendment versus the 3,000-page Obamacare, why can't we can create a country with small statements, but now we're stuck with this. The word that is really important in that Second Amendment is infringe. I'm infringed by going from this room to that room by these doors. And what is infringement? I guess that's from a legal standpoint in terms of, would a tax on a gun owner for owning a gun be infringement?
Yes.
Any kind of registration of guns?
Yes.
Any kind of registration of the person or medical records of the person?
Absolutely.
So you're talking about all infringement, any kind of impediment to owning a gun.
Our approach is what part of do not infringe do you not understand?
Yes.
You know, as far as I'm concerned, the existing gun control laws are unconstitutional.
Yes.
And everything should be thrown out. But when you start talking about universal background checks, see, because this is the way they do it. I'm talking about the left. They talk about universal background checks. Well, everybody ought to have their background check. But what is that? Well, first of all, the background checks are ludicrous because a lot of people slip through the cracks, literally, because the criminals don't buy their guns at the gun store. Convicted felons don't go to a gun store to buy their guns. So, the universal background check idea, and there are a lot of Republicans that are leaning towards voting for this.
Yeah, I know, Paul Ryan.
The universal background check is just another way of saying universal gun registration. Because when you go to get a background check, they say all the records are destroyed after 3 days. Bull!
No, yeah.
The federal government doesn't destroy any records they have on us. So yeah, this is the approach we're taking. As I said, in the Second Amendment, we're going to be extremely aggressive. So you can look for us in the front pages on that one. Yes, sir.
I'm pretty cold on the rally course. With all the people asking questions, I better give you both of mine first. On the agenda 21 slash not so smart meters, are you guys doing anything about that situation, especially here in Texas? And corollary to that is there any way that an injunction can be filed against Encore, a class action suit of some type? That would be my first question. If you have time, I'll do the other.
Okay, well, as far as Agenda 21, I am familiar with it, of course, on the smart meters. Camille keeps me up on that, and I'm very grateful for it. But we're not directly working on it at all at this point. I have had requests, and again, that's why I'm looking for more attorneys to help us, and some more paralegals to help me research. Because that's one of those things that we want to get involved in, and will get involved in when I've got the manpower to do it. And because it's just another part of the UN taking over and the government destroying our privacy. And see, this is something else that we're going to be looking at very closely. Is Obama's going to sign this small arms treaty, UN small arms treaty. And we are getting word out of Washington that he is being told by his advisors that he can sign that treaty, he can sign the Internet Regulatory Treaty, and he can do this as executive actions, which means he does not have to submit them to the Senate for ratification by 2/3 of the Senate, as required by the Constitution. I'll be at the courthouse door the day he signs that and doesn't bring it to the Senate, because that's something that we're looking at. And that, of course, Agenda 21 is, well, that's a treaty that was never even brought to the Senate for ratification.
Yeah.
That they're putting it into effect. I'll get back to you in a minute. Yes, Shirley?
This mental health issue is one that I'm concerned about. First of all, the shooting of a sniper by a fellow military with PTSD or whatever it's called, really makes a case that they're trying to make about the veterans, and I don't want to see that happen. And then the other thing, before you answer that, everybody's talking about the mental health being a major problem. What I'm thinking is that this could open the door to a requirement that anybody who wants to purchase a weapon must fill out a questionnaire to determine whether or not they are fit to own a gun. Well, everybody in this room would be unfit if that ever happened. And most people are not even thinking along that line that this could be the next step to of the background check, to require you to pass a mental health examination.
Well, in Obamacare, there is one provision in there that I agree with, and again, it's vague. And that is that basically, this was inserted in there to say that doctors cannot ask patients about whether or not they have a firearm. Obamacare has reversed that by one of his executive orders. He's just amended that out, saying doctors have to. So yeah, the mental health issue is one that we're looking at very closely. There's some things I can't talk about that I get through the military and intelligence community. Let's put it this way: the word I'm getting is that we're very suspicious about the killing of the Navy SEAL.
Yes, absolutely.
We're very suspicious. We're not saying that this guy didn't do it, but we're saying that the whole deal is just, the word in the military community right now is that something's not right. So, yes, ma'am.
I'm Cindy Barnett. I'm with the Carrollton Tea Party. All of these executive orders, all of his agenda is unconstitutional. And our leaders are allowing this to continue. And what I've researched and come up with an agenda that citizens can take, and it's treason of misprision, which if a leader sees that someone is creating treason, then they're obligated to go after that person and hold them accountable for treasonous acts. And if they don't, then they're creating misprision of treason and are also accountable.
Well, actually, that, you know, you're correct, and that is